Hello and welcome to eLagan Whiteboard Fridays, where we look at various tax and compliance related issues in a user-friendly fashion. Today we will look at non-compete clause that when you are raising money, so there is a non-compete clause which founders agree with the company in order to protect the interest of the company. So let's see what exactly the non-compete clause is. So this is basically the founders and other senior members of the team, whoever is driving the whole company, have a lot of valuable IP, lot of valuable information like market research reports, the performance of the company, the strategies, the decision making. So it is important for the company. It is important for the company to prevent any competition from these people in case if they exit the company for whatever reasons, if anybody is leaving the company and going out. So it is important as a company to protect they cannot start a very something similar business, because then there is a high probability that the competition can be very high and the company may lose prospective business and a lot of revenue losses can be there. So that's what a non-complete clause is basically. So which documents contain this? So typically when you are raising money, then there is something called a shareholder agreement where the founders, the company and the investors come together to various terms. So we have already covered what a shareholder agreement should be. So that document could contain a non-compete clause, or it could be a part of the employment letter. So when you are signing the employment letter with the company, there can be a strong non-compete clause. In case if you have not raised money, then also it is advisable that all the core team members or any senior team members that the company had put this, either if it is not covered either in a shareholder agreement or a offer letter, then you can also draft a separate document where apart from non-compete clause, you can also look at various things like non-solicitation and confidentiality and all those things. So that document can be prepared, and then you can ask the senior people or whoever you think is an important and who can possibly, if they move out of the company, can be a threat to the company. So those documents, you can prepare a document and get it signed from them. Now what is the implication for founders? So typically the founders are very strong people who are right from the inception till they exit out of the company. So they are a very strong portfolio. It is fair in all respect for the company to actually restrain founders to compete with the same line of business, because they have conceived the idea, they have implemented it, they have access to a lot of IP information and all stuff. But at the same time, for a founder, also it is important that you should look at what are the restrictions and is there a time period associated with it. So founders, before signing any such clause, should look at, in all fairity, you should be signing it, but you should see what are the conditions attached to it. What is the time period till when you cannot compete? So you cannot be expected to devour yourself lifelong from pursuing a similar idea or something which is close to what you had started. So many times investors actually force you to sign a clause till the time either they are invested in the company. So even if they hold, say, after 10 years or something, then you cannot actually do any competing line of business. So that's from the investor's perspective. Or it could be a time driven, maybe 3 years, 5 years, 2 years, depending on what the company envisages the value of idea or the life of a business product, or how big the company has grown up. So that's where the founder should be more worried about. Apart from that, they should look at what are restrictions. Many times the founders are even restricted to just buy shares in a very competing product or a technology, or form any kind of joint venture or partnership or association with any person who could be treated as a competitor to the company. So these are certain other clauses in a non-compete clause which you should be aware of. And what are the implications for others? So others means the people who are non-founders. So typically investors, let's talk about an important stakeholder called investors. So investors try to actually not refrain themselves from investing into similar line of business until and unless you have a very strong product idea and you are like being sought after by a lot of investors. You may not be able to chase them, or you may not be able to stop them for investing into similar line of business. So they typically try to put, okay, investors can actually put in money into any other company which is something very similar, either in the same geography or it could be a different geography or a different industry altogether. But that is one investors generally try to put. So based on again what is the status of your company and your idea, what is the valuation, what is like how many people are chasing. So take care of this particular aspect, how you want to allow, and whatever deal you come across you can always sign it accordingly. There could be other senior board members, or it could be other senior or core set of employees who have joined at a very beginning. So for them again, as the company grows, their role gets limited to a lot of activities. If somebody handles just the technology, again in technology there could be bits and pieces. Somebody handles a small market or a region or a sales profile or HR. So depending on what the roles are, you can actually continue to change the non-compete clause if needed, or you can try to put a blanket clause where it is good actually for others to have a time-bound clause rather than clauses like till the time investors are invested into the company, because it becomes too lengthy for them, and many times it's also challenging to know exactly the date, because whenever the investors are quitting, they generally don't inform, hey guys, we are out of it, and now if you want you can go ahead and pursue us something like this if you want. So it becomes many times challenging for others to know whether they are. So typically 3 to 5 years, which is a decent cooling period, I would recommend, is what you can look at. Based on case to case, that time period can be more or little less, but that's how you should typically have a non-compete clause for others. So that's it. So couple of takeaways, important takeaways from the founder's perspective. Just make sure what are the time duration and any other restrictions like investing into similar companies or forming partnership association in any manner or anything, what kind of thing you have signed up. From investors, again see whether you can actually debar them from investing into other competing companies, because many times because of their investment or shareholding in the company, they also typically have a board seat, so they could have actually some access to private information. Typically big investors don't do this kind of thing, like typically they don't have same person sitting on boards of multiple competitors, but again, to be much more safer, if you can actually restrict them to invest into something similar company, it is great. Otherwise, it should be okay until they have, say, they maintain their confidentiality, and if they are not sitting on the board of the competing companies, so then it should be pretty safe that way. So that's it on eLagan Whiteboard Friday today. Feel free to drop us an email at support@elagan.com for any queries you may have, or check out our knowledge base at elagan.com/. Thank you.